My insecurities are getting in the way of my relationship with my boyfriend. At this point, I feel like I don't deserve to have him in my life. I'm in my 30s. All my life, I felt like an outsider, the odd one out, or the awkward kid. I guess it all started when I was a child. My parents were overprotective. Most of my contact with other children was limited to my older sister only. Sometimes we'd hang out with cousins. But we never went to the park to socialize with other children. When I was around 4 years old, my mom chopped off my hair, because it tangled a lot. My hairstyle was like the early Beatles. Then I started preschool. I remember all I wanted was to start school. I didn't do too badly, but many kids were mean about my haircut. Some other things happened too. I vividly remember that one time after recess, a group of boys from another class forced me into the boys' restroom. They kept me there for a while. They didn't let me get out. I was crying and didn't know what to do. I then went back to the classroom and told the teacher, but she didn't really do much. Then in elementary, there were more mean comments about my haircut. My mom didn't let me grow my hair until I was in 5th grade. I was taller and a bit heavier than other girls. My mom also found it more practical to always dress me in shirts and sweatpants, so I never felt very feminine or pretty growing up. I guess subconsciously, I felt like I wasn't pretty enough to feel feminine. Eventually, I let my hair grow. This helped a bit, except my hair was quite thin and fine naturally, and other girls sometimes made remarks about this too. Also, since I was taller and a bit heavier, around 6th grade, I began feeling fat. All my friends and classmates were smaller. I was already in puberty, so I had grown hips, chest, and thighs. I just felt huge and not delicate like they were. I desperately wanted to be skinny and fit in. I also started becoming more and more shy. Then in 12th grade, I got my first boyfriend. He was a few years older than I was. He was already in college. At first, the relationship was alright, but he quickly became hyper-jealous, controlling, and downright abusive. My family and friends knew we were having problems, but I hid a lot of the abusive things he said and did. It was around this time, when I was 18, that I developed depression. It's never been too bad that I couldn't get out of bed, but I felt numb and unenthusiastic. I was stuck in that relationship for 6 years. Once we broke up, I started meeting new people. I lost some weight. So now, I was getting attention from guys. But I wasn't used to this, even though I liked it. I had a lot of self-doubt. Since I've never gone to therapy, I think that to this day, I still deal with a lot of trauma from my previous relationship. I still feel so flawed physically. To make matters even worse, my already thin and fine hair started thinning more. I met my now husband 10 years ago. We clicked. He was the one who pursued me. He's always been great and very patient with me. At the beginning of the relationship, I still had a lot of unhealthy and toxic dynamics from the previous relationship. I know I've come far in that regard, but my self-esteem and self-image issues have ebbed and flowed. And lately, they've become a bit worse. I still feel like that fat, ugly, uncool 12-year-old, except now with more wrinkles, which doesn't help. My husband is a very smart, charming, and funny guy. He can easily be the life of the party wherever he goes. Before he was with me, he dated a lot of hot girls. A while ago, he befriended one of his co-workers, who was like the female version of him. She's smart, funny, charming, reads a lot and is very interesting all around. Update. So last night, I felt a bit jealous because they've been talking a lot about anime and manga lately. She even borrowed some of his manga, and I've never been into this kind of stuff. I made a snide remark about how uncool I am, because I'm not into these things as much as his friends. He took it very badly. He's aware of my self-esteem and insecurities, but he gets fed up with that too. I can't blame him. I mean, I can get pretty intense with this stuff. But I felt it was such a silly thing for him to get upset over, so I got defensive. He's been going through some difficult stuff lately, and he told me he can't always be the one who has to be strong for me, so I should just quit being so damn insecure all the time. I ended up telling him that deep down, I felt like I didn't deserve him. He got even more upset that I'd essentially questioned his love in our relationship. I get it. But it's true, sometimes I feel I do more damage than good, and I fear maybe he hasn't yet realized that he'd be better off without me. It seems like we always fight because I put my foot in my mouth over some insecurity or whatever. If I didn't have self-esteem issues, we wouldn't have problems. But no matter how much I try to improve my self-esteem, I just can't. I feel very lonely because I see him connect so easily with others, while I hardly have friends. My best friend doesn't live here, and we text sometimes, but I know she has a very well-rounded and full life. She's also a social butterfly, so I know from social media she has a thriving social circle where she lives. I'm not close to my friends here, and it's hard for me to initiate contact and work on those friendships. Again, social anxiety doesn't help with this. So I feel like a failure. I feel broken. I feel like maybe I'm better off alone, because I'm boring and not very compelling. I don't have much in common with anyone. I just can't connect with others. I know I have to go to therapy, and I probably need medication. However, finding a therapist is overwhelming. I also tried therapy once, and it was so difficult to open up without crying. It felt awkward. I know therapy is hard work, and you have to put up with it. You can't get lazy or scared, because it will feel uncomfortable. I know that I have to make an effort. But it all feels so overwhelming. I just can't see myself building that kind of relationship with a therapist. I've been sad all day because my husband is upset with me. I'm only driving a wedge between us, which is precisely what I don't want to happen. I feel more like a failure and freak than ever before.